In this video, we're quickly going to go through how you can add the eKyro smart plug, like you can see here, to the Smart Life application so that you can integrate it with other services such as Alexa, Google Home, or just use the device from your mobile device. The first step is going to be to download the Smart Life application if you don't have it. Here you can see that there's a QR code and or a link that you can use. This is probably the best method to download the application because in the App Store or the Play Store, there are some people that have applications that they designed to look similar to Smart Life, but they're not the correct ones. Here you can see the correct app is Smart Life-Smart Living. That's the one you're going to want to use for this specific scenario and for the eKyro devices. In this example, you can see that I have it downloaded, and so I will select Open. Once you have it open, it should give you a couple prompts, and that's just to make sure that the permissions are appropriately set up. Here I'm going to select Allow on notifications. I do want those, and I will select Allow on critical alerts as well. I'll select Agree, and then it's going to prompt me to either log in or sign up, or there is an option to try as a guest. If you don't have an account yet, you're going to want to use Sign Up. And you can see that you can either put in your email address, I believe you can use a phone number as well, or on the bottom, depending on what type of device you have, there's going to be some options for the Google or Apple sign-ins. In this example, I do have an account, so I'll select Login. Once I've logged in, you can see that there's a couple more permissions that it needs to get, and these ones are actually pretty important because this will allow your device to connect to both your phone and your Wi-Fi network so that you can use it remotely or anytime that you're not physically at home. In this example, you can see that it's asking specifically for local network and Bluetooth. I'll select Continue. I will select Allow on local network and Allow on Bluetooth. Again, this is to help the app find the device so that it can add it correctly. Once you're logged into Smart Life, the process of adding the device is pretty simple. In this example, I have one plugged in, but if you don't, you'd want to plug in that specific device. It's going to flash and blink a little bit, and then the light should go solid. Once it goes solid, like you can see here, we'll just press and hold the button for anywhere from 6 to 8 seconds. I heard the device click, and now it is going into pairing mode. Once it's in pairing mode, it's going to start to flash and flicker, kind of like you can see on this example. And then on our mobile device, we'll select the plus icon, and we will select Add Device. Once you select Add Device, it might prompt you for a couple more permissions. I'll select Continue, and in this example, I'll select Don't Allow. So here you can see that we have the eKyro Smart Switch showing up. I'll select it. I'll select Manual Input. Now you can see the eKyro Smart Plug has been added, and I can simply select Done. If you did have multiple devices that you needed to add, you could actually press and hold both of those buttons until they started to blink, and then both of those items would show up, and you'd only have to complete the adding part once, and both of those devices would be added. Now it is worth noting that if you were to unplug this device and replug it back in, it would automatically connect back up to the Wi-Fi network that it last knew. So in this example, you can see that I have now added the eKyro Smart Plug. I can select the button on the bottom and the device switches off, which you can see the light indicator is now off, or I can switch it back on. And in this example, you can see that I have a history of those on and off switches. You can also select the button on the side to switch it off or on, and both of those should indicate live on the application as well as you perform those switches and be recorded within the history for that device. Depending on the device type that you have, in this example, this is the monitoring version, but if you have the non-monitoring, just standard version, you wouldn't see all the options like statistics and different things like that that you can see here. Once you have the device added within the application, you can change the layout and the look of the application by simply pressing and holding on some of these and changing the size of the card. In this example, you can see that you can do it larger or smaller, and you can move those around to make it more convenient. You can see that I can move it over here. I could stack these. You just have a lot of different options of where you can place things within the application. The next thing we'll show you is how to remove the eKyro Smart Plug from Smart Life, and there's a couple different options when you do that, but it's relatively simple. In this example, I'll go into the device, I'll select in the top right hand corner the pencil icon, and if I scroll down to the bottom, you can see that I have remove device. Selecting remove device gives me two options, remove or remove and clear data. In this example, I'll fully remove it and do a factory default wipe. So I'll select remove and clear data, confirm. And once you have that fully removed, you could hear the device click, and then you should see it go back into pairing mode where it's ready to be re-added. In this example, if I select the plus button and add device, I can now see that device is now ready to be added again. If you are having problems getting your eKyro smart plug added, there are some alternate connection methods, and we'll walk through those now. The first one is I've just removed the device. You can see the indicator light is blinking. In this example, it's blinking quickly. I'll select the plus button and select add device. Here you can see that it is finding the device, but again, we're simulating a non-preferred scenario where we couldn't just add it via the normal method. So what we'll do is we'll scroll down, and the first option you should see is plug BLE plus Wi-Fi, and that's the plug that these ones currently are. We'll select that, and on the top right hand corner you can see that the option is set to Bluetooth. So we're going to change that to Wi-Fi mode. And what this is going to do, instead of trying to push the connection through Bluetooth, it'll push the connection through Wi-Fi. So we'll select next. We'll select next again. It's telling us to hold the reset button for 5 seconds. In this example, you can see I'm already in pairing mode, but if I wasn't, I would want to do that. And we'll select next. Now it's asking to confirm that the indicator is blinking, and in this example, it still is. If it stopped blinking, we'd want to press and hold that button once again. And it's asking me, is it blinking quickly or blinking slowly? For this setting, if you're having issues already, we would actually prefer to have this in the slow blinking mode. So it's currently in the fast blinking mode, so I'll press and hold it again for 6 to 8 seconds. You'll see the light come off. And now it is in the slow blinking mode. It's blinking once every about 2 to 3 seconds, and so I'll say blinking slowly. Now it's going to tell me to go and get the Wi-Fi name for this device. What we're actually going to do is connect to this device and push the credentials that way. We'll hit set now. It should bring us to our settings where we can actually select that device. In this example, you can see that it's named SmartLife 9E01. And now you can see that I've connected to it. Once I've connected to this, I'm going to want to go back to SmartLife, hit already set ignore, and I'll put in my Wi-Fi credentials. As a note, if this takes too long and the device stops blinking, that's going to be a problem. You're going to want to press and hold it again and get it in the slow blinking mode. I'll select next, confirm and proceed. I can select join, and now it is trying to find that device and push the credentials to it. And you can see that this device was able to get added through that alternate method. I think they call it AP mode, pushing the credentials that way. If you're still having issues, we would definitely recommend double checking that your credentials are correct. You can do that by going into your phone settings and looking at the Wi-Fi that you're connected to, and you should be able to see what the Wi-Fi name and password is and make sure that you're putting that information in correctly. Once you select done, now you can see that this device has been added again, and turning it on and off does appear to be actioning correctly. In this video, we went through how to download the correct app, how to add the eKyro smart plug to that application, how you could remove that smart plug, and also if you're having troubles, what some of those alternate connection methods are. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out at info@eKyro.com. We'd love to help you get up and running. Thanks.